Have you ever felt like your only two housing choices are a big house way out in the suburbs or a tiny apartment in a massive skyscraper? Well, it's a super common feeling, but it turns out it's a false choice. Today, we're going to explore that space right in the middle, a really powerful idea for building better, more interesting neighborhoods that's, been hiding in plain sight this whole time.
Just think about it for a second. When you picture where people live, your mind probably jumps to one of two things, right? Either that classic single-family home with the yard and the white picket fence, or a towering anonymous high-rise building. But is that really all there is? For decades, it's kind of felt that way.
So on one hand, you've got this, a huge sea of single-family homes, the classic suburb where you absolutely need a car to get anywhere or do anything. And then on the other hand, you have the super dense city core, defined by all those tall, imposing apartment towers. It's a really stark, polarized landscape.
And this split isn't just about how things look. It really shapes our day-to-day lives. It makes us totally dependent on cars, which means more time sitting in traffic and way less time for, everything else. It can even lead to social isolation when we're disconnected from our neighbors and local shops. And honestly, it just limits our options for how we might actually want to live.
But what if that whole binary choice is just wrong? As you can see right here, there's a whole spectrum of housing options that fit perfectly between those two extremes. This is exactly what urban planners and architects call the missing middle.
Okay, so if our current housing situation feels a little broken, what's the solution? Well, it's all about rediscovering that missing middle. It's about bridging that gap with a really thoughtful approach called gentle density. So, first things first, let's get a handle on the definition. Missing middle housing is basically a whole range of housing types. We're talking duplexes, townhomes, small apartment buildings that are all specifically designed to fit right into a neighborhood of single-family homes. They look and feel like a house, they just happen to have more homes inside.
And that brings us to the main idea behind it all, gentle density. This is the how. It's a way to cleverly add more homes and more people to a neighborhood, but in a way that feels comfortable and human-scaled. It gives you more neighbors, more energy, more local life, all without dropping a 30-story tower in the middle of it all.
All right, so we've talked about the concept, but what does this missing middle housing actually look like? Let's take a quick visual tour and categorize the different types of homes that make up this incredibly versatile family. It's pretty cool.
We're going to start with one you probably already know, the duplex. From the street, it just looks and feels like a single, kind of large house, but it comfortably gives two separate households a place to live. It's really the simplest, most direct way to double the number of homes on one lot while keeping the character of the neighborhood totally intact.
Now check this out. With just a simple tweak to that duplex idea, you open up a world of possibilities. By stacking the units one on top of the other, you create the perfect setup for multi-generational families. Maybe grandparents are downstairs, the kids are upstairs, everyone can live close but still have their own separate, private space.
Moving up a little bit in density, we get the fourplex. Here, you've got 4 homes inside a building that's still, about the size of a very large single-family house. This is where you really start to see the power of gentle density at work, supporting more people in a compact, walkable, and really community-focused way. Townhouses are another classic missing middle example. Because every single home has its own front door that opens right onto the street, they create this incredibly active and engaging streetscape. They build this natural, welcoming bridge between your private life inside and the public life happening out on the sidewalk.
Oh, I love this one. The cottage court is literally designed with community in mind. Instead of facing the street, these small homes are all clustered around a shared courtyard or a garden. The source material actually calls it an antidote to loneliness because it helps bring back the lost art of community building.
And last but not least, the live work unit. This is such a brilliant idea. It blends our home and work lives together, with maybe a small shop, a studio, or an office on the ground floor, and a home right on top. I mean, that's a 0-minute commute, and it brings all this useful, vibrant activity to the street during the day.
And hey, this isn't just some abstract idea on a diagram. Here's a real-world example. You can see how this corner building is providing a local service. It's activating the street corner for people walking by, and it's offering housing all at the same time. This is the stuff that really brings a neighborhood to life.
So, we've seen the what of missing middle housing. Now let's dig into the why. Why is this kind of housing so important, so transformational? Well, because it's the absolute key ingredient for building what planners call complete neighborhoods.
So what's a complete neighborhood? It's a place where you don't have to jump in a car for every single little thing.
The grocery store, a coffee shop, a park, the local school, it's all woven together into this walkable, human-scaled fabric where your everyday life can just happen right outside your door.
And one of the most powerful things about this is that it works for so many different kinds of people. For young families, it means more affordable options in great neighborhoods. For retirees, it gives them a chance to downsize without having to leave their community. For singles and couples, it makes a vibrant, walkable lifestyle possible. It really does offer something for just about every stage of life.
This quote really just gets right to the heart of it all. This isn't just about building houses. It's about building community. It's about intentionally designing places that encourage us to meet our neighbors, to interact, and to form those social bonds that make a place actually feel like home. So when you put it all together, the final outcome is so much bigger than just housing. This whole approach fosters social connection by creating these natural opportunities for us to run into each other. It boosts local economies by supporting small, walkable businesses. It weaves in green space for our health. And, maybe most importantly, it can drastically reduce how much we depend on our cars.
All right, as we start to wrap this up, let's zoom out a bit and think about how this applies more broadly. Because this isn't some niche solution that only works in a few special places. It's a truly universal concept.
You see, unlike high-rises that really only work in the densest city centers, missing middle housing is super flexible. It's designed to be woven right into the fabric of almost any community, gently adding much-needed homes and choices to nearly any neighborhood, whether it's in a small town or a huge city.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. The next time you walk around your own neighborhood, really look at the housing, the shops, the streets. What piece of this middle is missing? And what could your community look like? And more importantly, feel like if it were there? It's a question that's definitely worth asking.